Welcome, welcome, one and all, to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. I want to start off right now. Let's kick off the proceedings this evening. I want to wish everybody out there a happy Lunar New Year, which, despite my yearly letter-writing campaign, thank you, happy Lunar New Year. There you go, this. Which, despite my yearly letter-writing campaign, does not involve Anderson and Andy getting crunked on the moon. On the Chinese zodiac calendar, this is the year of the snake, which, of course, we already knew from the official announcement.
You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
Yeah, he's honest. He's honest, I'll give him that. Why would I give him that? Traditionally, the year of the snake is a time to reset. It is about letting go of the past and letting go of anger. So in that spirit, I'm letting go of my past anger, then picking up my future fury, because our possible next Secretary of Health and Human Services could be anti-vax roadkill chef and CPR dummy that no one wants to practice mouth-to-mouth with, RFK Jr. Because for a guy who's supposed to know how to stay healthy, he has a long history with dead animals. He famously scooped up a roadkill bear to eat later, then instead left it in Central Park. He decapitated a beached whale with a chainsaw to tie it to the roof of his car, where its decomposing juices ran down on his children's head. And once claimed he had memory loss, quote, caused by a worm that got into my brain and ate a portion of it and then died. Which means if he's confirmed, the FDA will have to issue a new label that says, warning, may be fatal to worms. Along with the taste buds of a highway vulture, RFK Jr. is also patient zero for spreading dangerous health conspiracies, like the idea that COVID was, quote, ethnically targeted to spare Jews, the claim that fluoride may lead to IQ loss, and the debunked idea that vaccines cause autism in children because of mercury-containing preservatives. And despite all that, Bobby was on Capitol Hill today, interviewing to oversee all of America's health agencies, including the FDA, the CDC, the NIH, and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. No. We've all seen the classic Jimmy Stewart movie. Mr. Smith says COVID was ethnically targeted to spare Jews and still gets to go to Washington. Now, what does Jimmy Stewart thinks? So what does RFK suggest should replace vaccines? He's pretty vague, but he has said the treatment for measles is chicken soup. So get ready for a soup-based healthcare system. Mr. Reynolds, I have your chart here. We have your EKG results, and I'm afraid we need to start treatment immediately. Luckily, your insurance covers gazpacho. There you go. That was a hell of a walk. Now, there's a long walk right there. If you're alarmed about RFK Jr. becoming our health secretary, there's a good chance you may be a member of his family. Because yesterday, the Senate got a chilling warning from his cousin, Caroline Kennedy, who urged senators to reject his nomination. Ooh, I love an old-fashioned Kennedy fight. Yeah. Usually these things get worked out in Nantucket with croquet mallets until it's time for oysters, gin, and the NDAs. Caroline is JFK's daughter, and she's had a long career in government and public health. She served as ambassador to Japan and Australia, where she was actively involved in promoting the HPV vaccine, which put Australia on a path to eliminate cervical cancer. Or as they say in Australia, crikey, that Sheila Caroline Kennedy really kangaroo cooked the carcinogen-a-do out of Our Lady's wallaby pockets. Kangaroo, carcinogen-a-do. Is that even close? Any close? Yesterday, Ambassador Kennedy sent senators a scathing letter and went on social media to read it.
I've known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. It's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets, because Bobby himself is a predator.
You're not a predator if the animal you're eating was already run over by a Volvo. Technically, you're a scavenger. Ambassador Kennedy gave an alarming example of Bobby's insane cruelty from his drug-fueled college days.
His basement, his garage, his dorm room were always the center of the action, where drugs were available, and he enjoyed showing off how he put baby chickens and mice in a blender to feed to his hawks.
Okay, that behavior is disgusting and cruel, and it completely disqualifies him from working for HHS and for Jamba Juice. Plus, why did he have to blend up food for his hawks? They swallow their prey whole. It's not like they're up there flying around with a NutriBullet. Caroline wrapped up the letter invoking the spirit of their shared lost relatives.
Unlike Bobby, I try not to speak for my father. But I am certain that he and my Uncle Bobby, who gave their lives in public service to our country, and my Uncle Teddy, who devoted his long Senate career to the cause of improving health care, would be disgusted.
And we know that for a fact because of Bobby's uncle's famous speech.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask, what the hell is Bobby doing with that blender? Put the hamster down and put a shirt on.
Now, yep. Anybody here? In his hearing today, Bobby tried to spin his fear-mongering as just advocacy, claiming, I have often disturbed the status quo by asking uncomfortable questions. Yes, he has the courage to ask uncomfortable questions all the time, like, are you gonna finish that raccoon? All day long, RFK Jr. tried to weasel and spin his way out of the things that he said in the past, like this exchange with Colorado Senator Michael Bennet.
I'm asking you yes or no, Mr. Kennedy. Did you say that COVID-19 was a genetically engineered bioweapon that targets black and white people but spared Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people?
I didn't say it was deliberately targeted. I just quoted an NIH-funded and NIH-published study.
Oh, about that study. The Washington Post fact-checked it and said the study in reference did not state those conclusions. Well, to quote Shakespeare, you can't just say you're quoting some and then make up whatever you want, you numbnuts. But, beautiful, you can't just quote, is that scanned? You can't just quote somebody and. But the highlight of the hearing was when Senator Bernie Sanders confronted Kennedy about a group that Kennedy founded which sells anti-vax merch.
You have started a group called the Children's Health Defense. You're the originator. Right now, as I understand it, on their website, they are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies.
These things, it's a onesie, not to be confused with a burp cloth, which is for baby spit up. Fun fact, there's no law you can't use it as an adult. When I go to lunch, I keep one right here. It's great for mopping up soup. But this is a onesie. Bernie continued.
One of them is titled Unfaxed, Unafraid. Next one, and they're sold for $26 a piece, by the way.
Which is a total ripoff, by the way. $26. Here's what you do. Take an old T-shirt and a pair of scissors, snip, stitch, boom, free onesie, bonus, the extra material makes a nice burp cloth for the soup. $26. Bernie went on.
Now, you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines.
Yes, it's the most unhelpful child's product to hit the market since Hasbro released My Little Polio. Eventually, RFK Jr. answered Bernie's question by dodging it.
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
That was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with leadership.
Are you supportive of these onesies?
That's such an intense grilling with such silly words. It reminds me of this scene from A Few Good Men.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the Huggies Little Snugglers?
We got a great show for you tonight. My guest is Will Ferrell. And when we come back, we'll be right over here. just one of